Okay, welcome back. Solo roll Mangging. Tales of Argosa and the Shadow of Tower Silveraxe. This has been quite a little mini campaign so far. We've done well for ourselves. On the one hand, we haven't really ever been that close to death, except for maybe that one time with the skeletons, with the paralysis. But I guess there have been multiple times where we could have very easily lost a character due to, like, instant death poison. So, that's always the case with OSR, you know? You could be level 9 and you get stabbed by a giant scorpion, you could die. I mean, that's just, boom. But at higher levels, you generally have access to, like, resurrection and blah, 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 all sorts of powerful shit. We have made it back to Karn Buldar. This is our third trip now to Karn Buldar. We just handed in a boatload of XP. I actually have to get my notepad back. Hold on. Our goal for this video is going to be to get to the Tower of the Builders. If we don't make it... If we don't make it into the tower or do anything with it, that's fine. I just want to get there in this video. But yes, we did hit level 4, so we're going to do the leveling up process. Dalnir gains another 2 hit points. And he also is going to gain... Well, he's going to gain a few things. They all gain a few things. He doesn't gain another attack bonus, but he does get +1 AC. Was that... I don't think they added that. No, because this is +1 chainmail, so that's +5 AC. He has 0 dex mod. So, no. Okay, we'll do that automatically then. Or manually. So he's at 16 AC now. That's nice. He also is going to get an attribute. So for that, we're going to throw it onto... We could throw it onto Int, so he has slightly better odds, 5% better odds of casting arcane spells. But I'm going to go ahead and throw it onto Dex so he can get that modifier and actually get another AC up to 17. Also helps his stealth odds, although now with the Ring of Invisibility, he's pretty good. It says for the invisibility that you are sneaking. Or you count as sneaking, or something like that. I wonder what that condition is. A sneaking creature makes no noise when it moves. That's weird, because I thought it specifically said that you do make noise when you're invisible. Oh, it counts as hidden. No, wrong. So you do... Yeah, I'm sorry. I got the wrong term. So you do make sound. You count as hidden to all creatures unable to see it. No creature can claim line of sight on you, blah, blah, blah. They know it's there. They can attack at a -4 penalty. Okay. So stealth should be obviously easier with while you're invisible. Although usually why stealth fails, or how we narrate where it fails, is by making a sound. So if you still can make sounds, yeah. But I would still probably give a bit of a bonus just for being invisible. Just because you might make a sound, but it's not nearly as obvious. When someone looks in your direction, you know, they still don't see anything. So I think there should be a bit of a bonus, but that's just me. Right. Then he also gets, oh, we didn't update this. He should have 4 uses of turning. And he's going to go up to, I think, 2 tier 2. Yep, 2 tier 2. And so he's going to get to pick a new tier 2 spell. Swift Sword is pretty tempting, as I said. Giving him the... Oh, it actually lasts 6 rounds. Yeah, so pretty darn good. But again, as usual, it's sort of the thing of, do you want to waste a turn at the start of combat? A lot of our combats last 1 round or 2 rounds. You know, it's very quick. So it'd be something you'd cast right before you burst through a room. In which case, it is very powerful. Spiritual Weapon lets you actually summon a weapon of pure force to attack independently. Lasts 4 rounds, so it's another thing of like really short range. I think we're probably going to go with what my original thought was, which I think was Holy Blessing. So for 1 hour, we all get +1 to attack throws, armor class, morale, and saving throws against magical fear. It also cannot affect creatures who have attacked enemies on their most recent initiative, so it is best cast before a battle begins. Yeah. But it lasts for an hour, so it's a very good preparatory thing before we go through, you know, at least a good section of a dungeon. So I think we're going to go with Holy Blessing. I don't need to copy all the text. We'll just go with this. We'll add a spell. Holy Blessing. Yeah, of course. Alright, let's see. 15-foot range. Out of combat, essentially. I mean, he could cast it turn 1 if he's the first one. Yeah, it could be. +1, 30 allies, +1 to attack. Well, AB, AC, morale, and luck versus fear. Alright, done and done. Yeah, I'm gonna mark that that's a tier 2. I also would probably... So I probably should put, like, Arcane tier 1. So I remember sharpness. Okay. Good. Then I think he's done. I think he's got everything he needs. Oh yeah, he's gonna dump off coinage. He's carrying a lot of coins. We also have that chest, which we'll probably dump off here in town. So that was 10,000 silver. So we'll just add that. And he'll dump off another 800 silver. And let's say, I don't know, 1,300 gold. I don't know why we need gold to carry with, but this inn room is getting to be very valuable. Good. Delete, 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 delete. Also, bracelet and necklace. 900 GP, 1,200 GP. Okay. Mostly good, mostly good. Crystal of Power. I counted it as XP because we technically brought it back to civilization. We don't have to give it up, though. It depends on the game you're playing. Apparently, some games do state that you actually have to sell it in order to get XP, but Axe was very specific about that you didn't have to sell it. It says they receive 1 XP per 1 gold piece value of treasure recovered on adventures. Characters gain XP from treasure they recover from the dungeon or wilderness and bring back to civilization. Purposes of earning XP, civilization includes any friendly settlement or stronghold and or any hex of civilized territory. That's it. Doesn't say anything about selling. Shadow Dark, I think, might be similar. I mean, maybe there's another section that mentions it a little bit further, but it says they gain XP from valuable treasure and boons they earned during an adventure. And usually when I run Shadow Dark, I give the XP as soon as they find it. Similar to Tales of Argosa when I use that system. Yeah, per treasure find. So that's like, you know, sort of all the way on the other end of the spectrum. I think it doesn't matter. I don't agree with a system where you have to sell it, because it has nothing to do with money. It's just a mechanic that encourages players to seek out treasure, because treasure is in dangerous locations. The XP for your character and how they grow is not through necessarily monetary, expansion, but it's through like how you think of XP. It's the characters growing in their skills and abilities by confronting dangerous situations. That's usually how I think it's meant to do. I mean, obviously it's a bit of an abstraction sometimes. But yeah, that's how I take a look at it. So, yeah, I mean, we recovered this Crystal of Power. It's worth 1,000 gold. We don't have to sell it to get that. I think we're not going to sell it. We do have this Onyx Ring, which is 1,300 gold. Gems, 100 GP times 2. 500 GP times 2. So we'll dump that shit off. She's gonna hold on to the Crystal of Power, though. I think that still might have value. She's pretty full up on gear, though. Yeah. Okay. We got sidetracked a little bit with equipment there, but I think Dalnir is done leveling up, so we'll move on to Nefira. Gained a couple hit points. She's going to gain an attribute in maybe Con. Sure, we'll give her another hit point from that. You can't go above 16 with that bonus, so hands are tied. She does get another +1 AC, which is awesome. Tales of Argosa is so nice. She gets another use of tricks and techniques. And she gets another technique. Yeah. Maybe Glue Pot. Maybe Cat's Grace. We'll go with Glue Pot, I guess. Maybe it'll come in handy. Alright, that's done and done. Dang, we have not found a +1 short bow or anything like that. I mean, that's fairly unlikely to find, I suppose, but yeah, she's gotten screwed. And then Rethi is going to gain a whopping 3 hit points. She's going to gain another +1 to strength. We could pump her AC even higher. I am tempted. The +1 to strength, it's not going to give her another mod, you know. She's not going to go to +3. So, fuck it. Go Dex. 22 AC. Eat it. Oh, she's probably going to get another AC now. Yep, +1 AC. Now, I already have her as with an AC bonus. What is that from? What is that from? Shit. Oh, the Ring of Protection. That's right. Yeah, okay. Excellent. He might want to hand that ring off, though, to Dalnir. He's collecting all the rings. 23 AC seems a little too high. The chances for most things we'll fight to hit her seems really, really slim. So I think we'll help out Dalnir a little bit. So that's going to drop down to 1 again. And she's going to pass this ring over. And he'll go up by another 1. Alright, so he's at 18 AC, which is pretty good for like a cleric, mage, fighter, hybrid that he is. Perfect gish. Right, so she got an extra use of adaptable. She gains another style. Probably, what's the one that lets you, reroll a fumble? Expert Guard. If I can remember. That's it. Then. Pretty simple. Okay, so now we need to roll... well, okay, let's finish looking at gear. She's pretty full up and doesn't really need anything. We did lose some rope that we could replace. I do want to restock arrows. I want to restock these iron spikes that always come in handy. And we could carry all sorts of stuff with Dalnir. I'm gonna have him carry the crowbar just because I feel like that might come in handy. Yeah, fine. And we're gonna replace some rations. I'm gonna have him carry some rations. And we want to replace our torches back up to 5 just in case things go awry. For all that, let's just spend, I don't know, 5 gold. It doesn't really matter. 5 gold. Okay. Now, I wanted to hire a torchbearer. Usually it takes time, right? But I think, you know, there can be some special circumstances here because it's a small settlement, 400 people. Really, there's either just like someone wants to do the job or they don't. So I think we can go with the axe rules. Based on availability. Which I think we're going to base on a 0 level here. Well, this says in a class 6, there's 1d2 0 level per month, technically, but I think there's probably one willing to go with us. That's how I'd rule it. Like, if the players just wanted one torchbearer, they can probably find some strapping young dwarf in this settlement to go with. However, before that happens, we are going to take a long rest. And during that long rest, Karn Buldar will get attacked by a horde of undead. So now we need to figure out how defensible this settlement is. It's got a population of 400, which means that there's probably not that many soldiers around. It says at any given time there are 8 active guards on duty, 2 at each gate, and 4 on patrol. So we'll assume there's 24, 25 guards or something like that total, which I think is reasonable. And then we need to calculate the size of the potential militia, which I know there's a section here. Well, there's the conscripts, which I suppose is what we want. Oh no, militia. Levy a peasant militia. Up to 2 additional peasants per 10 families can be levied into the militia. So that's separate from the conscripts. But I think this is more an emergency thing. The militia is more of an emergency thing. So yeah, we'll say 2 dwarves here per 10 families, which is not much. A family is defined as, I think, 4? It states that somewhere. It's like one line somewhere in this 550-page rulebook where it says the size of a family. I thought it was 4. But maybe that's just like my modern idea. So much information, man. It's crazy. You love it. Love it. I'm pretty sure it's 4. And I don't think we really need to go through all this just to figure out. But it's like, where the fuck would that information even be? Oh my god. Oh my god. I mean, they use the term a billion times throughout this rule. Like, everything for domain play, anything involving peasants at all. Okay, there is 5. Thank God. 5 peasants. Okay. So 400 divided by 5, then, is 80. Damn it, I closed the calculator. Okay, so there's 80 families in this settlement. That's, you know, just... That's the quick and dirty math of the average. So, for every 10, we can get 2 more militia. So that means 16 extra militia. Now, they're not going to be as good as the guards. The reason I bring all this up is because we're going to be doing the mass combat rules. And, we're not going to be participating because we're long resting unless like undead break through into the settlement, then we'll interrupt our long rest to do it. But we're going to use these one roll mass combat rules, which I really like. So a combatant's troop strength is normally equal to its hit dice. So I'm pretty sure these guards are fairly standard dwarven, like, just guards. Usually they don't have a high enough AC to warrant it. They usually don't have 15 AC. Unless... Well, according to this, they do. According to this, they have plate armor or chainmail or something. So, and shields. So, all right, we'll give them the 15 AC because Axe says dwarves do. They're well armored here. All right, so then that's good. So they get a 50% bonus. And I think that's it. So, what did I say? 25. So that would be a troop strength of 25 plus 50%. So technically each one is 1.5 times 25, which is 37.5. That's fine. The peasants, however, are going to count as half. So that's really just 8. So 45.5. Yeah, we'll round down. We'll say 45 is the troop strength of Karn Buldar. The player characters are not going to be combatants, so we're skipping that step, which is fairly significant. And now it's going to be a modifier to the battle roll. Now this number of 45.5 is only it only matters for casualties. It does not impact our success or failure in the battle at all. It just determines losses on either side. So the battle roll is just a straight D20. Covers 1 day of fighting, so for our purposes, that's the whole battle. We have a lot of advantages, though. We do have quite a few advantages. We have, presumably, high ground. And we have good walls. I don't know if they're stone, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if it was stone. We have stone bridges. I'm not quite sure, but we're on the side of a mountain and it's a bunch of dwarves. The odds of them working with a lot of wood over stone seems really unlikely. I'm ruling it as stone. Okay, so it's a... Yeah, we'll go with +2 here for fortification. Nice stone wall. Yeah, I mean, we're on defense, so we definitely have at least a +1 for that factor. Beyond that, though, it's hard to say. I'm probably going to give us a +4 overall. We do have, like, some discipline, but we're also... It's a relatively peaceful settlement, so they're not super, like, well-organized for an actual assault. But I'm going to go with +4. The undead have mainly the fact that they're undead to their advantage. I don't think they're being led by, like, a great necromancer. I don't think Silveraxe is leading the charge or anything. This is just a horde of undead just crashing against us. So it's really just the fact that they're undead. They don't suffer any morale loss or anything like that. So I'm giving them a +2. Which means our odds aren't good. What we really need to determine then is how many undead there are, which, like I said, matters for the end numbers. For that, I guess I need to kind of figure out what... aren't these undead just members of this mercenary group, this outlaw group, that were converted to undead? Yeah. His band of brigands. It's a large and infamous group, so it's probably a pretty good amount of undead, but this isn't going to be all the undead. I don't even know if it's going to be a majority of the undead. I don't know, let's say 60. I think numerically we're probably at a disadvantage. I'm going to go with 60 undead. All right. So a lot comes down to this D20 roll. And I think probably plenty of people would have an issue with that. But at the same time, a DM could just say, like, okay, you're not participating. They couldn't hold it, so the walls have been breached and undead flood into the settlement and are slaughtering people. You know, a DM could just say that. Or if you want to be really anal, I mean, you could play it out as like an actual war game, which is what Axe might do, although usually not with this small of numbers. All right, so we're gonna roll. We're sitting in the inn, just drinking, and we're listening to the sound of the battle. So this is our D20 roll +4. We rolled a critical fail. This is bad. The undead roll a 13, so they got a 15. We technically got a 5. That's not good. So that means the victory margin was 10. And this is where I always kind of have to reread it a few times to, like, think. So, the casualties are a percentage of the army strength of the opposing side. Right. So we lose 60% of 60. Which is a bit of a head-scratcher for the non-math inclined. Okay, so 60% of 60 is 36. Yeah, that's correct. So we lose 36. We lose 36 troop strength worth of troops. And we get to decide, you know, how that sort of thing. He lost 20% of the undead. And that's 20% of 45, which is not much. Negligible, really. I think that's like 9. We killed like 9 undead. It was abysmal. Like, we were not expecting it. We were not very well organized. The peasants came in way too late because, you know, we had to ring the bell and arm them very quickly. This probably happened at night, of course, because undead can see in the dark. There was a lot working against us, apparently. And so the western gate got overwhelmed, and the gates got burst open, and now undead are flooding into the settlement. Which represents a pretty big problem we'll get to in a second. As for the casualties, all the peasants are going to die, 100%. That's only 8 troop strength, though. So I still have to do 28 troop strength worth of dwarves, of guards. Which is going to be, let's see, 28 divided by 1.5. Yeah, about 18 or 19 of the guards, which is most of them. I mean, it was pretty disastrous. We were outnumbered, outgunned. all that stuff. So there's like 6 or 7 guards remaining, but they're probably, well, they're still there. Because casualties doesn't have to mean deaths. Half the casualties are deaths. The other half could be wounded for like a month, or they flee from the settlement or something like that. So a good number, I suppose a good number of the peasants, maybe all the, well, nah, there's not that many peasants that really... Yeah, I mean, half the peasants died, half of them fled. So that means that we have about 9 guards dead, like, probably like 4 or 5 more wounded. And the other 4 or 5 fled the settlement out the eastern gate, screaming for their lives. So yeah, we have about 6 or 7 guards that are still remaining and still willing to fight. But that doesn't give us great odds. And it's really a bummer, and really lazy of us, and stupid of us, because we could have done pretty well for ourselves. We would have added, troop strength-wise, we still would have lost. Well, no, I think the fact that Dalnir is a powerful cleric and stuff would have contributed a little bit to the battle roll. As far as, like, magical supremacy, essentially. So, we would have added, let's see, 4... Right. So, Dalnir and Rethi would have added 5 troop strength per hit dice wagered, and Nefira would have added 4. They probably each would have wagered, like, 3 hit dice. So we could have added, like, 42 strength. And we would have... I mean, that would have way changed the numbers. We still would have lost, because I rolled a 1. I mean, there's just no way around that. That's really unfortunate. But we could have saved a lot of lives. And now we didn't. Okay. And that's why we like this, because, you know, you never know. It's emergent gameplay. Okay, so, now we have to figure out what we do. So now, once we see undead, like, out the window of the inn or something, it's like, oh, shit. So we do not get our benefit of our long rest, because now we're going to have to fight this, or flee, either way. It seems wrong to flee. Again, they killed like 9 undead so far. They got overrun. So there's 51 undead out there. Not gonna be easy. Even if we assume they're all 1 hit dice skeletons, which I think that is what I said. I probably should have mixed it up a little bit, but that would have increased the numbers even more. So I just went with 60 1 hit dice skeletons. Because I think there's meant to be, like, ghouls and shit in there. Zombies, ghouls, wights. Yeah, things like that. But we simplified it. Just skeletons. We could play this out in a series of combat and stuff like that. Or we could do another mass combat roll now with the 9 guards still remaining and us participating versus the 51 remaining. Basically, Dalnir is going to use all 3 of his turnings for sure. And that's going to turn on average 6 undead, and it's just going to annihilate them. They will just die because they have 1 hit dice, so they will just die. So, if you roll 3d4, so that's 11 plus 12. That was a pretty solid roll. We got 2 4s and a 3. So, almost a max roll on that. So that's 23 undead that he just can annihilate without much of a thought. He does have to succeed on a Will Divine Lore, so we can roll that. Great success. Great success. Terrible failure. We did roll a 20. Okay, so that nullifies that last 8. So that would be, what did I say? 23, so minus 8, 15. Okay, so 51 minus 15. They're down to 36 undead. Could be better still. But the odds are nicer. We don't really have any other abilities or anything like that. So I guess we're going to go to another mass combat roll now. We have the 9 guards that are, that see Dalnir coming out with his holy symbol and just decimating the undead. So they're emboldened to keep fighting. So that means that they count as 13.5 troop strength. Like I said, we're wagering 3 hit dice, which could kill us, because these are rolled afterwards, so it's a d8. We take d8. We're going to take 3 d8 damage, each of us. But if we roll any 8s, they explode. So it is very possible for us to die. I mean, on average, you won't die, but it's very possible you'll die. But I think we have to throw in that much just to, like, save the settlement. So again, the default number per hit dice wagered is 3. If you're level 4 to 8, which we all are now, it's +1. If you're a fighter, it's +1. Or if you're a cleric facing a largely undead enemy force, it's +1. So Dalnir and Rethi are 5, so they're contributing 15 each. So that's 30. And then Fira contributes 4. So that's a total of 42 that we are adding. So 42 plus 13.5 is 55.5. We do now have the numerical advantage as far as troop strength. But the modifier to the battle roll is not looking good. Actually, I don't think we have any bonuses. Well, now I think I'll still give probably a +2 to Dalnir for being a higher end cultist. I know that adds to the troop strength and everything, but it just feels correct as far as like this magical supremacy is concerned. But they're also going to have a +2 due to their morale being unstoppable. So, yes. What did I say? 55.5 versus 36 is the number. And it's +2 versus +2. All right. We roll a 9. They roll a 7. We do win. Barely. A very low victory margin of 2. But we do win. So the loser, which is them, is going to take 50% of our troop strength as casualty. So 50% of our troop strength, that's 55.5 divided by 2, 27, 28, something like that. So they're down to like 8 troop strength, which we can just easily, we probably will roll like an actual fight at that point. The winner casualties is 40% of 36, which is 14.4, which pretty much covers the guards, right? It's hard to say because it's hard to say when the players make up like a majority of the troop strength of the army and exactly how that works. But I think most of the guards now are wiped out. Like, we couldn't save them really. It was just overwhelming numbers. So now before we roll our hit dice, we are going to have to finish the battle, because these things will never rout. That's the tricky thing about Undead and these rules. I wish there was a special sort of resolution aspect mentioned for how to deal with Undead that don't rout ever. But there isn't, as far as I saw when I looked through this. So we're just gonna do a fight. There are 8 skeletons remaining, and all the guards are down, so it's up to us, and we're just gonna do it as a normal fight. So let's roll initiative. Okay, success. Alright, well, Nefir is gonna try to snipe one, of course, as usual. That is a miss. These are typical boring old skeletons, so they have 12, 13 AC maybe? 12 AC, okay. So she did miss. Rethi will go in with the longsword. With +1. Crit for 13 damage. That's a kill. She's going to go ahead and use an adaptable in order to use Opportunist. And she's going to swing at a second one right away. That is another kill. Awesome. We're down to 6. Fuck it. She's going to cleave. She's going to try to cleave through 2 more. So this is luck. Strength -2. Failure. Fuck it. She'll reroll. Success. Awesome. So she does 1d8 +1 damage. Ooh, that's... No, +3. That is 4. That is enough. Yeah, she actually can't fail to kill one as long as she lands a hit. Awesome. So she killed 2 + 2. She killed 4. So she killed half the group. That's pretty powerful. Now Dalnir's going to go in with his scimitar. Yeah, that is very much a kill. And he's also going to try to cleave through 2 more, because, hey, when it rains, it pours. -2 on his strength check. Great success. He rolls 2d5. 2d5 +3. 12 damage, no problem. So there's 1 skeleton remaining that gets to land an attack on Rethi, or... Yeah, it did land. I rolled a 19, which, according to the Tales of Argosa natural 19 effect, is another skeleton pops up, but we'll just do blade trauma. Impaled. Suffers... So she takes 4 damage, and she's going to take 4 more damage at the start of her turn. We'll roll initiative. We failed, so it's going to go again. Misses. Actually, did it hit? It rolled a 19, only has +1. She didn't get hit. She's impossible to get hit without a crit. You only get a natural 19 effect if you hit. I'm almost certain, and you don't just get an automatic one. I mean, it just says it causes special effect on a natural 19 roll. Actually, no, it doesn't say that it requires it to hit. But I would argue it doesn't make any fucking sense if it doesn't hit. I think it's just assumed as like, you rolled a 19, how are you not hitting? But in this case, yeah. Now the skeleton's normal effect that causes them to get up, or to summon another skeleton, that's sort of irrelevant. So fuck it, we're gonna give her health back, but we're gonna summon a second skeleton. It doesn't really matter. Because I don't know if it would get I would not give it another attack right away. But now Rethi gets to go. She swings. She kills. Dalnir swings. He fumbles. It counterattacks. It misses. Nefira shoots and puts it out of its misery. And the day is won. Karn Buldar not in good shape, though. Jesus. Okay, so the western gate is just, like, destroyed. Basically, all the guards are dead. There might be, like, one surviving, maybe. And we have to check if we survive. So Dalnir is going to take a total of 7 damage. He came out really well on that one. So he's down to 16. Nefira. Okay, she takes 11. She's in pain, but she survived. Rethi. Also quite painful. She took 17 damage. Which puts her at 7. Yes. Alright, no one died. We won the day. But yeah, all the guards are dead. And if they send another horde of undead, Karn Buldar is fucked. So now it's like, it's really on us to deal with this problem. Or this settlement is lost. This whole region is lost, apparently. Again, like, he's not like spontaneously just spawning more undead or anything. It's not like an endless thing. Like, he only had so many men as part of his company. And I don't know how big a group like that would be. I can't imagine it's more than like a couple hundred, though. Right? I wouldn't think so. I think Axe does have numbers for, like, mercenary bands or something. It's mercenary availability by realm size. Guess it's not quite the same thing. Yeah, it's hard to say. But if you look at, like, the county mercenary availability, yeah, it's 250 maybe. So, yeah, it's hard to say, but I really, I don't know. I guess it could have been a lot more, but I don't think so. I don't know. I guess, what do I know? How would I know? Apparently they're a pretty secretive bunch, you know, so I can't imagine, they're not openly recruiting or anything, so, yeah. So I think we dealt a pretty significant number, a significant blow to their number of undead. But if he recognizes this loss and then gathers up all his undead forces and marches on Karn Buldar, he will take it, 100%. But the long and the short of it is that we have to do a long rest. I mean, we can't go into that situation the way we are. So we have to long rest and just hope that he can't mobilize the rest of his forces. I mean, I don't even know if he is, like, cognitively or in control of the undead or anything like that. But as far as we are aware, I mean, somebody is directing these undead to attack this place. So we just have to hope. So we're going to now restart the long rest. And I think it's pretty slim odds that the undead will attack again with large numbers. But with no guards and no gates and, like, no really fighting fit peasants in the area, I mean, like, even a few undead could be a problem and could interrupt our long rest. So it's hard to say. But I'm going to roll a d10. On a 1 or a 2, there will be another attack of some kind. And I can't see the number because of a cat, as always. Cat, get out of here. I don't know if I'm dead or not. Get out of here. Okay, jeez, we barely survived. Okay, so we get the benefit of long rest. We have a week of peace here. Oh, I guess I could just click on long rest. Okay, we do get 1 point of luck back. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 1 point of luck. And I don't think it did that for me. Maybe it did, but I don't know. Okay. And then we got all our ability uses back. We are set. We are set. I don't have any torches on the carts? Okay, well that's... I like 10 torches. And we'll pay for our room and board, and we'll throw some money for repairs and to help out. So, yeah, fuck it, we'll just deduct... I don't know, 10,000 silver. Well, how about that? There you go. We do what we can to help out. We should have helped out the fight initially, but I was a little overconfident in the guards. All right, we are then setting out. We know that this is emanating from the tower. All signs are pointing to the tower, so we're doing it. So we have to get to the Labyrinth of Shadows first, the giant forest of ominousness. So it's 5.4 miles. Plus 4.2, plus 8.6, plus 4. So I think that's a couple day trip just to get there. Yeah, we'll get to the edge of the forest around the end of the second day. Okay. Let's set out. Remember, I'm rolling 2 random encounter checks per day now, and 1 every night. So there's a lot of possibilities here. And for random encounter rolls, I'm going to be using the table from the labyrinth. That stuff is just spilling out now. It's mostly not undead. Well, no, I mean, it's got some good mix of undead in there. But it also could have a troll, crab spiders, hobgoblins, bugbears, elves. Yeah, okay. So, let's roll for the first check of the day. It is an encounter. And it was a D8. 4 is going to be crab spiders. Okay. D4 crab spiders, 4 of them. Reaction roll. Not great. Probably potentially hungry. Their activity die. They are making or repairing a den, minding eggs or offspring, teaching young, gathering resources, or keeping watch. Okay. Alright, so they're just keeping watch. They're stealthy. They're damn stealthy. So we're gonna see if Nefira notices them rather than if they notice her. There's gonna be a perception check from her against their stealth. Their stealth roll is gonna be 16, I guess. They crit. Okay, they are extremely hidden. So Nefira, unless she rolls a 1, which I would imagine not, she didn't. Okay, she's not going to notice them. So this means one of 2 things. They either pounce on her and ambush her, or she walks past them and doesn't notice them, and they attack the Adalnir and Rethi. One of the 2. I think it's more likely they attack Nefira because she's a solitary creature, bite-sized, all that good stuff. I'm going to roll a d6. 1 through 4, they attack Nefira. Okay. So, for whatever reason, maybe she is a little bit too stealthy for them, so she doesn't get noticed. That was another way I could have done it, I guess, but she would have almost guaranteed to succeed. So, yes, she doesn't notice them. They don't notice her. She passes through, but they definitely are going to notice Rethi and Dalnir unless they succeed on a very nice stealth roll against their perception. But typically we're not stealthing through the trail and stuff like that, you know? So I don't think they were even... No, I wouldn't give a stealth. Unless the party specifically says they're being stealthy. Now, technically, Dalnir is on lookout duty. That is his travel role, is the lookout. So he keeps watch for monsters. You automatically spot most creatures at very far range. But we already determined their stealth as a crit. So, I can give him a roll just to see if we avoid an ambush, but he has to crit. He did not. Sad to say. So they are going to get ambushed by 4 crab spiders, which is potentially very fatal, and they don't have Nefira for like 3 rounds. We'll give the ambush to 2 of the spiders, just to be a little fair, rather than all 4 being able to pounce simultaneously. So 1 pounce ambush on Dalnir, 1 on Rethi. Crab spiders have +2 to attack, so it's +2 with advantage versus Dalnir. Yep, that's a hit. And against Rethi, no problem. They would have to crit her. Of course. So Dalnir is going to take 1d8 damage. 5. And he now has to roll Luck, Constitution, or die. And again, I just don't like draining luck that way, so it's going to be an Oracle roll. Great success. Alright, he's fine. That leads us to initiative. Nefira's not technically in the fight. I mean, she is, but as far as initiative is concerned, she's not really present. So we're going to have Dalnir roll. He's got a 14 now as well, so that's good. Success. Alright, he's had enough of these damn crab spiders that just infest this region. No, he's not had enough. He fumbled, so they immediately get to make a counterattack. They crit. This is bad. He takes 8 damage. He has to roll another luck con. He succeeded again, but this isn't good. Rethi swings her longsword with +1 to the roll. She does hit. She does not kill. They have 9 hit points, but it's a good blow. She could shield bash with the shield. She would lose 3 AC, but honestly, it's not that bad of a bargain. She has quite a lot of AC even without that. Where the hell was that rule? Shit. Right, so she can make a second attack at disadvantage. And do 1d3 plus strength mod. Okay. So she'd have to roll disadvantage with her shield. I don't think shields give an attack bonus, so it would just be 6 still, which is pretty good. So she's gonna roll 6 twice. That's definitely a hit. So she does 1d3 plus 2 damage. Doesn't matter, it only has 1 hit point. So yeah, she shield bashes its face in and it dies. Good. When does Axe call for morale rolls? It's a lot more specific. It's also a different roll, I'm aware, but creature has lost... Oh, no, these are modifiers. For a solitary creature, when it loses 1/3 of its hit point each round thereafter that it's damaged. For a group, it's when 1/3 of the group has been killed or otherwise incapacitated, and each round when a creature is killed. Okay, so 1/3 of the group has been killed. That's not quite yet. Okay, so we won initiative. And we killed 1. Nefira's running back now. They get to go, the 3 remaining. So we'll have 2 target Dalnir, because he is the juicier target. He doesn't have a shield. So the first one hits. Second one hits. This is very bad. Against Rethi, miss. So he's going to take 2d8 damage. Only 5. He got very lucky there, but he has to make 2 more luck con checks. And this is why we don't tick down your luck, because that's brutal. He failed. Obviously, he's going to reroll, otherwise he's dead. He succeeded, and he's going to roll a second one. Failure. There's not really anything that I can do to prevent this. Normally, I would say I could use a rescue, but that's once per adventure. I will say that this is a very long adventure, so I probably should have divided this mini campaign at some point to say, okay, like maybe every time you go back to the settlement, really. I mean, that's kind of an adventure, to be honest. So I'm going to be nice, just because I don't want to remake Dalnir. And I'm going to say that Rethi can attempt another rescue at this point. It's still pretty unlikely. She still has to succeed on an initiative check and everything, and that's pretty unlikely itself. Yeah, she failed, and I don't know if you can use rerolls on that. No. It specifically says you can use it with the luck check, but not with the initiative check. I can't imagine Afira can actually make a rescue attempt, and only one party member may attempt a rescue per situation. So, yeah, Dalnir's fucking dead. Crab Spider finally got him. That's really bad. Because now we have to pick up, like, another character. I guess we can pick up a character just on the road that also is in the area investigating the undead and everything. But Dalnir is so good. I mean, like I say, he's like the most powerful character I've ever had. He's level 4. Doesn't matter. Instant death poison is still instant death. Technically, he'll live for another 20 minutes, so he can finish out the fight, but damn. Damn. Nothing I can do. Yeah, I mean, if we had a potion of, like, anti-venom or something, like maybe. Like, that could happen, because it's not an instant death. But I have nothing. We have nothing. This, unless, you know, it depends, you know, some DMs are kind of Care Bears and might give you an option. Like, oh, okay, you have, what's the time we have? 1d4 turns. Okay, you have 20 minutes. Like, maybe you can use Apothecary and quickly find some herbs to, like, slow down the poison. You know, Kingsfoil. It's a weed. It's possible. I mean, Tolkien did it, right? He slowed down the poison and he survived. Why not Dalnir? Or he could pray to his god. I mean, we did that before when we were in the darkness, so maybe he could beseech his god. If he gets a great success. He did. Now, am I gonna count that? It's hard to say, man. Yeah, it's hard to say. I wonder how other people. I mean, I think most people in the OSR are kind of like on board with that. That's just the fact of life. That's just part of the game. It's, yeah, well, I mean, this is the OSR subreddit, so you see people looking for alternatives. You know, ability score damage, things like that. Game masters may find this makes the mortality rate of player characters a bit too high. On the other hand, poison should be scary. Here's an optional rule which may make things a bit easier without entirely removing the fear from poison. Where a save or die poison is indicated, the victim must make a save versus poison or suffer 1d6 damage per round for 6 rounds. This is an average of 21 points of damage, but even a first level character might survive with a combination of luck and healing magic. It is true, though. I mean, it makes these kind of creatures terrifying. It makes them something to be feared, even at higher levels. And I wasn't really afraid of them. I was fighting them just like normal things. Granted, I'm not really sure what I could have done much differently. But after... Okay, let's rewind. Let's rewind. I know, I know. We're going to rewind just so I can be a little bit smarter. After Rethi did her shield bash to kill one, she should have immediately used Opportunist. I mean, come on, let's be fair. I don't know why I didn't. This is me not being afraid of a spider. So we're going to roll right away. There you go. She killed one. And maybe that's the one that bit Dalnir. It probably isn't. It's probably the one that, because there were 2 on each of them, so it was probably just the other one that was on her. But now she could maybe do a cleave to try to cleave through one. She's going to try to just cleave through one more. So we're just going to roll straight up luck strength. She succeeds. So she's going to roll 1d8 plus 3. Okay, 7 damage. So she doesn't quite kill it, but it is going to prompt a morale roll for them. And this is going to be a group morale check for the spiders, which have, I don't know, 10 will or something like that, I think we say. Okay, they did succeed. So I think Dalnir is still fucked, because he still has 2 spiders on him. Unless you want to do individual morale checks, if I really want to be fair. The injured one is, like, more likely to actually flee. So we'll say that was for the uninjured one. So then the injured one probably has, like, a -2 on his roll. Or a plus... Yeah, a -2. So he's rolling against 8 morale. And there you go, he failed. So he flees, and Dalnir takes an op. Misses, but the spider scurries into the wild. So if we go back to the rolls that he took, it was a... Yeah, he got hit by the 16 and the 17. And then Rethi, she missed. Yeah. So he took 2 damage. And then I re-rolled, and he succeeded on the first one, but then he failed the second one. So he took 2 damage. So he's got 3 more health. And he succeeds on save. And now... So oh no, yeah, I should try it. Okay, yeah, so it's a new round. I don't know whose initiative it is. I think it's Rethi's. I think we only did 1 round of combat. So Rethi's rolling initiative. Fail. So the spider is going to... Yeah, it's going to bite Dalnir again. It misses. That's up 17 versus 18 AC. Dalnir swings his scimitar. Does 5 damage to it. Rethi swings her longsword. And kills it. And that's the end of the combat. Now... I welcome your arguments about handling that, because usually you can't rewind. But also, if I were DMing for, like, my family, I'm not sure about death poison like that, because they really don't like losing characters, but they do like, I suppose, the possibility of losing characters. They like playing Tales of Argosa and, you know, the lethality, but technically, it wouldn't be instant death. You would drop to 0 after 20 minutes, but then you would get your death saving throw. So I probably should have just let it happen, because he does have a pretty good death saving throw, especially if she gave him that healing potion. Oh no, I drank that, didn't I? Oh, then we have no magical healing. Okay. If you have any sort of magical healing... like the Scroll of Cure Light Injury that only he can use, you get +2 to the roll. So if we had a potion, he would have to just roll a 15 or under and survive. But then you have to roll on the injury and setback table, which could be pretty terrible. But I mean, they have had multiple characters go down, but they succeed on their death saving throws because you can use your luck, or you can use reroll. I mean, so usually they have rerolls stockpiled a little bit available, and they always have Lego there as the paladin who always has lay on hands and stuff. So yeah, I mean they've definitely gone down, but they keep going, and they've for the most part rolled fairly well in this table. In the last campaign we did, they did go down and they got a neck injury. So their neck was fractured, they're helpless, paralyzed from the neck down for 12 weeks. And they decided to just put her out of her misery and shot her in the head or out in the wilderness, left her body there. That can happen, but it is what it is. So perhaps I should have just let that go and let it slide and see, let the dice fall as they may. But I think it's an important lesson to have that death poison effect and things like that, so that you are still scared of certain things. And it's not just D&D 5e where everything is just like a block of hit points you're smashing into. I know, I pick on 5e a lot. So if you get ambushed by 4 crab spiders, it should be like, holy shit, bust everything out, use everything we got, use your major exploits, use your your class abilities, whatever you can to end that fight as quickly as possible or avoid attacks as much as possible. So I'm gonna let that slide. I mean, we did slightly pay for it with luck and stuff. We were at full luck when we set out. I'm not quite sure how this got ravaged so much. Oh no, we weren't at full luck. We recovered 1 point. Yeah, but we paid for it, so it is what it is. Was it a significant combat? Hell yeah, I would say so. So Dalnir's going to short rest. He succeeded once. He'll recover HP. Nefira, I don't think is missing anything, so she doesn't need to. And Rethi could get back a use of adaptable, so there's no reason not to. Okay. We continue on. And remember, I wanted to get to the tower in this video. So that was our first roll of the first day. Second roll, we're fine. Foraging roll, failure. We consumed 3 rations. That night, we're fine. Good. I know I haven't been rolling weather, and at this point we're just gonna say fuck it. I'm juggling too much stuff. Second day, first roll, fine. Second roll, encounter. D8, 3. That's going to be 1 D8 shadows. That seems really bad. That seems monstrously bad. That seems wildly incongruent with like the rest of the module as far as difficulty. 1 D8 shadows? As a reminder, these are the shadow things that enervate you so you take con damage. Or no, you take max hit point damage. And with every hit and stuff. And the only way to get that max hit points back is to succeed on a saving throw 3 days in a row. Like, it takes a long time to recover from this shit. This is wild. Now, perhaps the OSE version is slightly different. I think we probably looked at it. It is slightly different. It's strength drain. So it's 1d4 damage plus strength drain. Victim loses 1 strength per hit. Recovers after 8 turns. That is a lot easier. They can also only be harmed by magical attacks, but that's true for these as well. They are encountered on in groups of 1d8. If we look at, I don't know if Tails has one, but maybe they have Shades, Incorporeal Undead. They have 4 hit dice. They do strength damage and 1d8 damage, and they're immune to non-magical weapons, and they're fast. So yeah, that version's also pretty mean. The Shadow Dark version's probably going to be the nicest, but also I don't think it'll be that nice. Yeah, I know the alphabet. Shadow. 12 AC, 15 hit points, which is around 3 hit dice. They get 2 attacks, though, at +2 that do 1d4 damage plus drain. 1 strength damage. No matter what, Shadows, that's not a nice encounter. And this could be 8 of them. And they surprise on a 1 to 5 per these rules, which means that they are going to be very hard to see. At the same time, though, I don't think this one specifically applies because we are just on the road during the day. I don't think they can actually fight us. This is a possibility in the Labyrinth of Shadows. Obviously, it's named after them. But I think for this specific one, I'm going to reroll to be more sensible. All right, we got Bugbears. That is far more sensible. 2d4 Bugbears. 5 of them. Reaction roll. Pretty negative. Activity die. 4. Yep. Constantly flitting about through... Like, normally I would have books in front of me, but I decided to just do everything digitally here so you could see everything. But you have to see everything now. Working. Doesn't really make any sense. Reroll it. Resting. Okay. That works. So, there's a group of bugbears out here. I don't know what they're doing in the area. This is like the first mention of bugbears throughout the whole adventure. But they are big boys. 3 hit dice plus 1. 14 armor class. They are naturally stealthy, but they are resting. They get a +1 damage bonus. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. A gang is 2d4, and each gang is led by a champion with 15 armor, 4 +1 hit dice, and a +3 damage bonus. Okay. I think then probably this isn't too bad because they're specifically resting. And hopefully Nefira can stealth by them. Now, I mentioned last time that not every random encounter should apply to Nefira, and we saw that just now with the spiders, that's not necessarily what's always going to happen. In this case, though, she is scouting, they are at rest, they're not moving, so it doesn't make much sense for it to affect the other two. She's going to see this. So it's mostly just do they notice her. So we're going to give them a perception roll of 14. They succeeded by 9. That's pretty good. And she only succeeded by 4. Unless she wants to re-roll this, she is going to get spotted. I do think it complicates things if she gets spotted. We could avoid a whole encounter with the bugbears, which are almost certainly going to kill us. So I'm going to use a re-roll. She still doesn't have great odds of succeeding, though. Oh, she rolled a 1. She almost stepped on the twig, but then at the last moment, she shifted her foot. And she observed the bugbears. You know, if you want, if you know, someone crits on a roll like this, you could give them some sort of advantage or something like that. Like, you could let her maybe, like, steal something from the bugbears, you know, because she's just very bold or something. She's very confident, so she's, oh yeah, you nick this little thing from them. I don't have a problem with that, but I also don't know if I would prompt it myself. Like, if the player said, like, oh, I rolled a crit, you know, do I get anything special? It's like, oh, okay, you know. That breeds just this the atmosphere of players whining and begging their DM for stuff, but you know, it is what it is. What would I give them? I'd love it to be like a really minor little trinket or magic item or something. So maybe I should roll. I could roll on the just for like a common item. Yeah, but that, well, crits are rare. I mean, it's a 5% chance, although she does have advantage on all stealth rolls. So I don't want to. Yeah, I don't know if I'd really want to breed that kind of thought process of like, well, I rolled a 1. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Please gimme. I'll do it this way. How about this way? Put it in the player's hands. I'll say that she notices sitting near the bugbears in their camp. She notices like this this oil. It's like this little like a little slight pile of what looks like kind of trash, but maybe like a few vials of something, and she could, if she wants, attempt another stealth roll to try to nick one of the items. And so then it's like, okay, it's not an automatic thing, but it is potentially a bonus if she wants to push her luck. So she'd have to re-roll her stealth and succeed again by 9 or more. Which is, what is that? 17, so that's an 8 or better with advantage. 55% chance or so. Around about, right? Something like that. So odds are she'll succeed on this, but if she fails, she's got her hand in the cookie jar next to 5 angry bugbears. That's problematic. I think Nefira... Well, let's roll the Oracle. Will she attempt to go for this? No. All right. Discretion is the better part of valor, so she'll leave it behind. But, you know, I like that better, of putting it in the player's hands if they want to risk it, rather than just, here's your free gimme. The crit created an opportunity. It didn't just create rewards out of thin air for her. All right. So we move on. I think that was the second roll of the day. So we're going to roll our wilderness lore for foraging. No go. So that's another 3 rations. Thank God for raiding that brigand camp, huh? And it's not, again, that's not something that I would have, those rations, like the, what are 40 rations or whatever we found. That's not something that I would have just mentioned. Like, oh, you find 40 rations or something, you know. That would have been more just like, a player would have had to have said, like, hey, they must have food here. Like, they were eating food, so how much food do they have here? It's like, oh, it's a good question. So in general, I think the point is, as you can see, the point is, as players, is to ask a lot of questions, bring up things, mention things, you know, because the DM is not omniscient. The DM does not just have this full, complete picture of everything in the world in their head, and they can just spout it all out. The questions create content many times. You know, questions from players bring things into existence that were probably not there before. And I think, like, for my family, I think that is something they... Because none of them have ever DM'd. So they have no real idea of what it's like to DM and what I really, like, have in my head at any given moment. So I don't think they really think to ever ask questions, because they figure if there was something to be mentioned, I would have mentioned it. But asking questions is one of the most powerful things players have in their arsenal, you know? Anyways, so now we're our nighttime encounter check. 1. Okay. 6 is going to be 2d4 zombies. 4 of them. We do not have to roll a reaction roll or an activity die for something like that. These are zombies shuffling through in search of flesh. They're just mindless. Well, I don't know if they're mindless, but these are, his former mercenaries that are specifically just killing. Yeah, they're just killing everything. So, a group of 4 zombies are shuffling towards us. Who is on watch? Dalnir's on watch. That means Rethi does not have access to her plate mail, if it were to be relevant. And zombies are pretty slow, so we have time to get up and prepare. And Nefira is... Yeah, we'll just roll initiative. I'd say she might get a free shot, but we probably didn't see them. By the time we get up, she grabs her bow and gets, standing and everything and in position. I think we can just roll initiative. Now, I would say, and I think Tale of Argosa agrees, if I recall, I can double check. They do have slow movement. Yeah, they have slow movement, the walkers, the standard zombies. But I guess they don't have any penalty to initiative, so I must be thinking of Axe. Yeah, -2 penalty to initiative rolls. Which is actually pretty significant, because I think Axe uses 1d6 initiative. Yeah, it's 1d6. So -2 is massive. That is like a... What is that, like a 33% penalty? So I would say for player side, if you're only fighting zombies, that's the only combatant, I think you get +4 to your initiative roll. You're very likely to go first every round. You could just waive it entirely and say if you're only fighting zombies, you always go first. If you want to simplify it, but I don't know. Players like to roll and they like bonuses, so whatever. Alright, Nefira's just going to shoot. 19 damage for 8. 19 attack for 8. These things have 2 hit dice, so that's 9. These are human zombies, so 9. They're also going to be wearing armor, because these are former mercenaries, so we'll give them leather armor. So they get 13 AC, with their natural AC of 11. So she drops 1 down to 1 hit point. Dalnir could do turning. He actually could just end the fight immediately, if we don't want to deal with him. But I don't think they're too bad. I think we're probably fine. We want to save our stuff for the shadows and crap like that. So he's just going to charge in with his scimitar, and he'll charge. Fumble. That's pretty bad, because now that one gets a free counter attack, and it gets +4 to the roll because he charged, but it missed. Rethi goes in with her longsword. She will also charge. She hits. She'll kill the injured one. And she'll go ahead and use Opportunist. So she'll swing again at a second one. That is a hit and a kill. 2 of them are dead. Alright, they get to go. One will attack Dalnir. Again, it has +4. Miss against Rethi with +4. That is a hit. Okay, she is injured. They have weapons. They're still using their swords. So we'll say... they're brigands. Maybe it's more like axes or something. What's the common axe? Battle axe? One-handed? Sure, 1d6. That's fine. 5 damage. Spills blood. New initiative. Success. Rethi. She injures the one in front of her. Nefira will try to finish it off for her. Yep, no problem. And Dalnir easily finishing off. No, he missed. Okay, that one attacks Dalnir, +2. That is a hit. D6 damage. 5. Okay. New initiative. Hopefully last initiative. Yep. Come on, Dalnir. You gotta do something here. There you go. That's a kill. Alright. Zombies down. The axe zombies don't have, like, any sort of infectious bite or any shit like that. They can bite, but it doesn't... You know... Usually, like, fantasy zombies are not Romero zombies or anything like that. You know, it's... They're just corpses reanimated by necromantic magic. I have seen... I have seen some fantasy D20 games that actually do have an infectious zombie. I don't remember what bestiary that was under. Yeah, I don't remember which one that was. Like I said, it's rare because it's not. That would be a specific type of zombie. It bugs me because I'm very curious now, but I don't know. It certainly would be an OSR game. Like, I don't think modern D&D or anything fucks around with that sort of lethality. No, I don't know. I could have sworn I've read it somewhere, but I don't know. Alright, anyways. They actually would have done more damage with their bite attack rather than weapons. But whatever. Okay. That's it for the night. That is going to warrant a short rest, though. Based on my own personal rulings. We're going to give him his hit points rather than his reroll. I mean, I wish he would have got both, but it's fine. Nefira is not missing... Oh, no, she's missing a reroll. That's good. Yeah, she did use that. Rethi. Great success. She can't get a luck back because she's still 10 or above, so she'll probably take an adaptable and a couple hit points. Alright. Night goes by. We are at the edge of the forest, the labyrinth of shadows. So, new day, we get to enter now. Entering the labyrinth is considered by most to be a death sentence. If some horrid creature doesn't shorten your lifespan significantly, then the woods themselves surely will. Getting lost is almost a guarantee. It's in the name, after all. The labyrinth is a gloomy, dark place where the tree canopy is woven tightly, permitting very little light to reach the forest floor. There is a 3 in 6 chance of becoming lost while traveling through the labyrinth. That is, unless you can find a guide. Movement through the labyrinth is also very slow and is equivalent to travel through jungle terrain. Yes. Which brings us to that specific ruling of speed and distance based on terrain. So technically we should have been moving faster because we were on a road, but it wasn't really a road, it was a trail through the mountains, so I was sort of splitting the difference and just moving at normal 12 miles per day. But jungles are half speed, so that's 6 miles per day. Which means that we can basically move 1 hex per day. We're right here. Which is already kind of about halfway through this hex. The tower is about a little over halfway through this hex. So theoretically, if we don't get lost, maybe we can make this in 1 day. Maybe. As the players set out to travel each day, roll or choose from the list of possible locations they will encounter for the day. These locations may also include a wandering monster from the list above. Moreover, since the ritual in the tower performed by Duard Silveraxe, legions of undead that were previously the men he commanded roam the forest as well. The frequency of encounters is up to the referee's discretion, but they should occur more often than in the rest of the Gem-Throne wilderness. Jeez. Well, technically, the original roll for the wilderness, was once per day. I already increased it to 2 because this is all sort of spilling out. So it's still going to be twice per day, I think. Going to 3 times per day seems like a lot. I mean, I know it's a dangerous forest, but that's just a lot of random encounters to bog things down. So, twice per day. And we are going to encounter one of these things. And we have a 3 in 6 chance of becoming lost while traveling through the labyrinth because we don't have a guide. Now, Tales of Argosa already technically has its own rules for getting lost and having a guide. So, if there are no roads, landmarks, rivers, etc., one PC must be the guide to lead the party through the wilderness. You have to do an int wilderness lore check. You don't have to have wilderness lore, though. And that means you enter your intended hex or hexes. On a great success, you make excellent time and may spend the equivalent of 1 bonus watch this day. On a failure, you become lost. I'm going to go ahead and say, because this is a very tricky area, that you have to get a great success in order to navigate where you want to go. Otherwise, you fail, and you're going to go off in a different direction. So, I wish that Dalnir had Wilderness Lore, but he does have better odds. Wilderness Lore is really just going to give us the opportunity to re-roll, but he has a 15% chance, higher chance of success compared to Rethi. So it's like, do I want a higher base chance, or do I want the option to re-roll? I think, well, I guess he only has a 10% chance because she gets +1 for Wilderness Lore. Alright, Rethi will be our guide. Nefira is scouting ahead. Although that also seems somewhat dangerous. But sure, she'll scout ahead. And Dalnir's on lookout as usual. Okay? So let's roll to see if we get lost. Alright, let's roll our guide. This is going to be 13 or under. Fail. Okay, I am going to reroll because we really don't want to get lost in this forest. That could get problematic. Great success! Huzzah! The odds of that were pretty slim. That was a 30% chance. Okay, excellent. We still, I mean, that there's still other factors now. But it does mean that if we survive everything, we should get to the tower today. This will be the one day we're in this godforsaken place until we have to come back out. So we're going to roll a d6 to see which one of these locations we find. Okay, we're going to come across the Meadow of Black Flowers. So let's roll 1 encounter before we encounter that, and then 1 encounter afterwards. So our first encounter roll, again, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, we're good. Man, this might be nice. This is a small clearing in the trees that surrounds a slight grassy hill, no more than a few hundred feet in diameter. The hill is covered in black-petaled wildflowers. Regardless of the time of day, the meadow is always experiencing night, and the 3 moons shine full and bright. That is very ominous. I can't imagine many groups are going to fuck with that, but maybe I just play very cautiously. I don't know. But you step through the tree line into a clearing, and it becomes nighttime. And it's already pretty dark through this whole forest. So, but then you step out and it's like, holy shit, it's nighttime. And there's just a hill covered in black flowers. It's like, hell no, man. Let's go around that shit. So I think there is a... It says these locations may also include a wandering monster from the list above, even though the list is below. I I'm not quite sure what that means. None of the descriptions mention there being wandering monsters in there, which seems to imply that I'm meant to roll a third time. But that seems sort of weird. I think it also kind of takes away from the ominousness of this area. So, no, I'm not going to roll for that one. Maybe if we came across the spring or something. All right. The second encounter then of the day is an encounter. And it's against 1d6 hobgoblins. Okay, it's 2 of them. This is not going to be the hobgoblin family, because I don't know how they would end up all the way back here. Hopefully they got out of things. 2 hobgoblins. Reaction roll. Not bad. Activity die is a 5. That means that they are traveling, so they're hunting or something like that. They don't have to. I mean, they could be escaping from someone or something. And that is often a good trick. If you want to spice things up a little bit further, is actually roll 2 of these things and see how these 2 parties are interacting with one another. Could complicate things more for the players, or it could make things a lot easier. So if we say that the hobgoblins are actually here along with some elves, now you've got a little bit of a situation going. Now you've got, fuck it, let's say it's 1 elf. I'm not going to complicate it. This is a little bit of a repeat of a situation we've already done, but we could flip it on its head and say that there's an elf hunting 2 hobgoblins. In which case, I don't know why we'd bother interacting with it at all, except for maybe to discuss things with the elf. They do have a -2 penalty to the reaction roll if there's no elf in parties, so it would be 6, really, but that's still not terrible. He's not going to just shoot us in the face on sight. Okay, let's roll with that. I think that's fairly interesting. Would Nefira bother? Again, she's kind of a little bitch. She doesn't like anybody, really. So, I don't know if she'd really bother. I don't think she really is. She wouldn't really attack either party. She tends to just stay out of things if she can. She tends to just avoid situations. That's why she's a good scout. You know, she sees things and she ignores it or reports back or something. So she'll report back that there's an elf out there hunting some hobgoblins. I guess technically I do have to roll her stealth versus the elf's perception, and the elf is probably pretty darn perceptive. He's out here in the Labyrinth of Shadows by himself hunting hobgoblins. So she rolled... Oh, I didn't roll with advantage. She rolled a success of 9. I'm going to give him like a 17 perception. Okay, yeah, so he does notice her. Okay, so then that changes things a little bit. So she is not quite stealthy enough, and his eyes do flick over to her as he's like watching the hobgoblins. Again, I feel like her reaction or charisma should apply here, which brings it down pretty low. That would bring it down to a 3, which is very unfriendly. May attack. He's in a bit of a jam, though, because if he attacks Nefira and she shouts out, that's going to alert the hobgoblins, and then he's got maybe multiple combatants against him from different sides. So I don't think he's actually going to attack, but I think he's going to, like, threaten. I think he's going to, like... I think he's going to, like, sort of aim his bow towards her a little bit, but also keeping an eye on the hobgoblins and just sort of like seeing if she makes a sudden like hostile move, like he's not like defenseless. So he's ready to sort of shoot her, but he's not actually aiming the arrow directly at her just yet. And again, I don't know what it is just about her face, but people fucking hate her, man. She's got resting bitch face, like, on steroids. she also kind of has her bow ready and is almost aiming at him, just the, you know, but she also sees the hobgoblins and doesn't want to kick into that. So she's going to slowly like back up cautiously and hopefully, you know, just let's get out of here kind of situation. Leave the elf to his shit. Yeah. And hopefully get back to the others before they stomp onto the scene. Okay. I think that's how we're going to go. Again, you know, it's an opportunity, theoretically, but it doesn't help that she's really unlikable. Okay. And I think with that, we arrive at the Tower of the Builders. If the party manages to come within a mile of the hill where the tower sits, the inner edge of the labyrinth will be detectable as light or moonlight peering through the trees. The area may have undead patrolling. If elves are encountered, they may be infiltrating the tower or escaping from it. Okay. Yeah, alright. We're at the tower. We can see it. It's clearly magical place. Filled with horrible, horrible things. That's where we're going to pick up next time. We made it through the forest shockingly well, I gotta say. I mean, yeah, I could have just fought the two hobgoblins. I mean, we could have done that fight. It wouldn't have really been that much trouble. Hobgoblins are not insanely difficult. They have 1 hit dice plus 1 and 13 armor. It would have been a bit of a fight, but, you know, whatever. Either way, I mean, I guess I could have rolled a random encounter at the meadow. We could have rolled 3 random encounter checks throughout the trip. But the fact remains we picked a very good entry point. Like, basically our best bet outside of here. I mean, if you go in here, you're basically, like, practically there immediately. Like, I don't know how you'd miss it. Whereas if you enter from here, like, good God, what are you thinking? Which is funny, because it's like, the player map is fairly indicative. It shows you this, and it shows you this, so, you know, you don't have this super nice trail available to the player map. They'd have to discover that on their own. But still, I mean, it's not that far, and like, you know, I think one day, as long as you don't get lost. And we very easily could have gotten lost, requiring a great success. Like I said, it was a 30% chance to avoid getting lost. The module said a 3 and 6, which is a 50% chance of getting lost. So I actually made it harder on myself. But that's because I don't really have a great guide. If I had a character with like 16, 17 int plus wilderness lore, it would have been very good odds of not getting lost. But still, yeah. Okay, yeah. So like a 15 int with wilderness lore would be a 50% chance of not getting lost. So that would be about equal. And that's generally what you'd want out of a guide. Is like 15 int with wilderness lore. All right. Good stuff. So hopefully next time is the last in this series as we go through the tower. It's really just, well, yeah, it's 4 pages here of the tower itself, which has like 13 rooms. And then you go under the tower, and that has a pretty good amount of rooms. In total, the tower contains 33 rooms. I don't know if well, we usually don't explore every last room. And I don't know, the goal is really, I guess, to kill Duard's Silveraxe. And I'm not quite sure where he is. Oh, he's in room 13. So he's in the tower himself. You don't even have to go underneath. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. But for now, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging. And I'll see you fine folks in the next part.